Friends, workers' participation in management in any organization is a complex concept. Workers' participation is a process by which subordinate employees, either individually or collectively, become involved in one or more aspects of organizational decision making within the enterprises in which they work. The concept of WPM is depending on the socio-political environment and cultural conditions. The scope and contents of participation change. Forms of workers' participation in management are different. So, let us understand what are those. Word participation is a very popular and glamorous term. Workers welcome it as it helps them to enhance the status in the organization. An employer uses it to show how they are progressive and concerned about the workers. In case of union, want it as it brings the new power equation between worker and management. However, the forms of worker participation in management varies from organization to organization. Let us understand the elements of participation. The term participation has different meanings for different purposes in different situations. Keith Davis has defined the term participation as the mental and emotional involvement of a person in a group situation which encourages him to contribute to the group goals and share responsibilities in them. This definition explains the three important elements in participation. It means mental and emotional involvement rather than a mere physical activity. Participation must motivate a person to contribute to a specific situation, to invest his own resources such as initiative, knowledge, creativity and ingenuity in the objective of the organization. It encourages people to share responsibility for a decision or activity. This sharing of responsibility ensures the commitment from the people to ensure the success of the decision or activity. Let us understand the forms of workers' participation. The term workers' participation in management is interpreted in four different ways. It is a way of sharing the information with the workers or employees, where management keeps the workers informed about the strategic decisions or what is going on within the organization. It is joint consultation while making the decision where management plays a role to take or make the final decision. For decision making, workers are taken into confidence. Information is shared with them to participate in discussions. They are allowed to make the suggestions or alternatives to solve the problems or issues. Next one is the active involvement of the workers is ensured for the meaningful participation. And the last one is in final analysis, workers' participation may involve workers in strategic, policy and operational issues. They are treated as active members and have equal voting. Right workers' participation implies self-management or self-control. Having said this, there are two views. One view says that workers or the trade unions should, as equal partners, sit with the management and make joint managerial decisions. The other view is that workers should only be given an opportunity through their representatives to influence managerial decisions at various levels. In practice, the participation of workers can take place by one or all the methods. Let us understand those methods now. 1. Board level participation. 2. Ownership participation. 3. Complete control. 4th. Staff or work council. 5th. Joint councils and committees. 6th. Collective bargaining. 7th. Job enlargement and enrichment. 8th. Suggestion schemes. 9th. Quality circles. 10th. Empowered teams. 11. TQM. Total quality management. 12. Financial participation. Now let us understand one by one. Participation at the board level. This is the industrial democracy way to ensure the peace and harmony in the organization. The workers' representative on the board can play a useful role in safeguarding the interest of workers. He or she can serve as a guide, control element and can prevail upon top management not to take measures that would be unpopular with the employees. Further, workers' representative can guide the board members on matters of investment in employee benefit schemes like housing and so forth. For example, the Government of India took the initiative and appointed workers' representatives on the board of nationalized banks or leading industry in India. In this, the role of a worker representative in the board of directors is essentially one of the negotiating the workers' interest with the other members of the board. The effectiveness of the workers' representative at the board depend on his or her ability to participate in decision making, knowledge of the company affairs, educational background, level of understanding, and also on the number of representatives in the board. Friends, now let us understand the next one, that is participation through ownership. This involves making the workers shareholders of the company by inducing them to buy equity shares. In this, advances and financial assistance is provided to workers to buy equity shares. This participation makes the workers committed to the job and to the organization. Workers have the option to influence the decisions taken at the top level. In actual practice, the board and the top management team always make financial decisions for the enterprises, especially in economic matters. The next one is participation through complete control. Workers acquire complete control of the management through elected boards. The system of self-management gives complete control to the workers to manage directly all aspects of industries through their representatives. The advantages of this particular method is to ensure the identification of the workers with their organization. Industrial disputes disappear when the workers develop loyalty to the organization. Trade unions welcome this type of participation. Thus, complete control by the worker is not an answer to the problem of participation because the workers do not demonstrate interest in the management decisions. The next one is participation through staff and work councils. Staff councils or work councils are the bodies on which the representation is entirely of the employees. There may be one council for the entire organization or a hierarchy of councils. The employees of the respective section elect the members of the councils. Their role ranges from seeking information to the management's intentions to a full share in decision making. These work councils are exclusive bodies of employees assigned with the different functions in the management of an enterprise. The next method is participation through joint councils and committees. Joint councils are the bodies comprising representatives of employers and employees. This method sees a very loose form of participation as these councils are mostly consultative bodies. Work committees are a legal requirement in industrial establishments employing 100 or more workers. Such committees discuss a wide range of topics connected to labor welfare. Examples of such committees are Welfare Committee and Safety Committee or many others. Such committees have not proven to be effective in promoting industrial democracy, increasing productivity and reducing labor unrest. Mainly these bodies are consultative and advisory, with decision making being left to the top management. This system of participation is prevalent in many countries including Britain and India. As they are consultative and advisory, neither the management nor the workers take them seriously. Friends, let us understand the objectives of the joint management councils. To increase the association of the employers and employees to promote the IR. To improve operational efficiency of the workers. To provide welfare facilities to them. To educate workers to participate in such kind of schemes. To satisfy the psychological needs of the workers. Indian Labour Conference set up the Tripartite Subcommittee which laid down the certain criteria for the selection of the enterprises where JMCs can be introduced. These criteria are like unit must have 500 or more employees. It should have a fair record of IR. it should have a well organized trade union. The management and the workers should agree to establish council. Trade union should be affiliated to one of the central federation. Friends, understood this particular criteria. Now let us understand what are the functions of JMCs. The important functions of the joint management councils are to be consulted on the matters like standing orders, retrenchment, rationalization, closure, reduction of operations, etc. To receive information, to discuss and offer the suggestions. To should or work as administrative responsibilities like maintaining welfare measures, safety measures, training schemes, working hours and payment of rewards, etc. The next method which we use in workers' participation is participation through collective bargaining, which is always discussed in IR. The process of collective bargaining, where the management and workers may reach to collective agreement regarding the rules for the formulation and termination of the contract of employment as well as conditions of service in an establishment. Collective bargaining is a procedure by which the terms and conditions of workers are regulated by agreements between their bargaining agents and employers. The basic objective of collective bargaining is to arrive at an agreement on wages and other conditions of the employment. Collective bargaining also has certain objective in addition to the basic objective, and what are those? To settle disputes or conflicts relating to wages and working condition, to protect the interest of the workers through the collective actions, to resolve the differences between workers and management through voluntary negotiations and arrive at consensus, to avoid third party interventions in matters relating to the employment. Collective bargaining also takes care of the various issues which are bargainable. In collective bargaining, wages and working conditions have been the primary focus. With the changing times, the process of bargaining is extended to almost many areas that comes under the employer. Let us understand the substance of bargaining. Wages and working conditions, work norms, rules and regulations, incentive payments, job security, changes in technology, work tools, techniques, practices, staff transfers and promotions, grievances, disciplinary matters, health and safety, insurance and benefits, union recognition, union activities and responsibilities, management, all are the part of the collective bargaining. Friends, having understood this, let us understand the types of bargaining. In collective bargaining, distinct bargaining have evolved. Conjunctive or distributive bargaining, where both the parties try to maximize their respective gains. In this, economic issues are tried to be settled where union negotiate for maximum and management wants to give less as much as possible. The next one is cooperative bargaining. In the situation when companies are suffering from financial loss or recession and they cannot offer the wages and benefits demanded by the workers. Next one is productivity bargaining. In this type, workers' wages and benefits are linked with the productivity. In this, the standard productivity index is finalized through the negotiation. Workers, if they excel in the standard productivity norms, they receive the substantial benefits. The next one is composite bargaining. In this method, workers bargain for the wages, but they go further one step and demand equity in the areas related to work norms, employment levels, manning standards to ensure the workload of the worker is not increased. Now, we will understand the process of collective bargaining. There are certain steps which are involved in collective bargaining. The first one is identification of the problem. In this step, the problem is identified and discussed based on the urgency or importance. Collection of data is the next step where the workers and the management spend time to collect the relevant data related to the grievances, disciplinary actions, transfers, promotions, layoffs, overtime, etc. from other industry to find out the various practices. The next one is selection of negotiators. The success of collective bargaining depends on the skills and knowledge of the negotiators. Negotiators are to be selected based on the knowledge, skills and qualification. Negotiator requires working knowledge of trade unions, principles, operations, economics, psychology and labor laws. The climate of negotiation is very important, which is required to be created to decide an appropriate time and set a proper climate for initial negotiations. The next one is bargaining strategy and tactics, which involves the various aspects when the bargaining is pursued. And what are those? Union proposals and management response to the same. Details of the management demands, limits of the concessions and anticipated union responses. Contingency plan if discussions and negotiations does not work out. Formalizing the agreement is the step after the successful negotiation. It is a formal document prepared in a simple, clear and concise form about the expressions. This document of agreement is required to be signed by both the parties and required to be abide by its terms and conditions during the entire term of the contract. The next one is enforcing the agreement is the step where both the parties adhere to the conditions agreed and implemented. The next one is workers' participation method is participation through job enlargement and job enrichment. Excessive job specialization leads to the boredom which creates the problems in the employees. To overcome these issues, two methods of job designing are used. First one is job enlargement and second one is job enrichment, which is very popular in HR. Job enlargement means expanding the job content by adding task elements horizontally. Second one is job enrichment, which adds motivators to the job to make it rewarding. These methods in WPM help to give freedom and scope to the workers to use their judgment. This form of participation is very basic as it provides only limited freedom to worker concerning the method of performing his or her job. The next one is participation through suggestion schemes. Employees' views are invited and reward is given for the best suggestion. With this scheme, the employees' interest in the problem of the organization is stimulated and maintained. Many industries have modern and progressive managements use the suggestion schemes across the various levels of organization. Suggestions or ideas may range from changes in inspection procedures to design new changes, process simplification, paperwork reduction and many more. Management, then they accept these suggestions. Those may provide benefit to the organization. The next one, friend, is very popular and which is very known to many of the industry, and that is participation through quality circles. Quality circle is a small group of the employees who meet periodically to identify, analyze and solve the quality and other work related problems in their area of operations. Concept originated in Japan in the early 1960s and has now spread across the world. QC consists of 7 to 10 people from the same work area. The main feature of the quality circle are voluntary group of employees who join the circle on their own. Second, which is very important, manageable size of the quality circle, which aims to have 6 to 10 members only. In quality circle, the regular meetings are organized at periodical intervals to discuss and solve the quality related problems in the normal working hours. Each circle has its agenda and references. They select the problems and offer the recommendations and solutions to it. Quality circles focuses only on quality. Quality circle also has certain objectives, and these objectives are to improve the quality of product or services, to meet the workers' needs, especially participation, recognition and expressing their self-views. It helps to improve the quality work life. It utilizes the employee skills, knowledge and the talent. It helps to promote the good IR. Friends, we have understood what is the concept of QC, how it is formed, what are the objectives. Now let us understand the structure of the quality circle. The structure of the QC consists of 4 levels: steering committee, facilitator, QC leader, quality members. Now let us understand one by one the role of these committees. Steering committee consists of representatives of top management, form the different departments and the union representative also. The role of this committee is to sponsor the QC program, selecting and training the facilitators and providing the resources and motivation to them. Quality Circle Facilitator. Quality Circle Facilitator acts as a consultant and guide to the QC leaders. They help to initiate the setting up of the QC, provide training and feedback to the steering committee. They also act as an evaluator and facilitate the interpersonal relations. Quality Circle Leaders. QC is led by the elected QC leader, who is required to contribute and align the work of each member. The role of the leader is to conduct the meetings, motivate and initiate the discussions, and ensure the participation of each member. The next part of this QC is Quality Circle members. The members join the QC individually and attends the meetings regularly with the active participation by contributing ideas for solving the quality related problems. Thus, QC helps to solve the issues by identifying the problems, analyzing them and giving the solutions. The next workers' participation method is empowered teams. Empowerment occurs when authority and responsibility are passed on to the employees, who then experience a sense of ownership and control over their jobs. To have the empowered teams in the organization, we should have the structure of the organization where teams are explained very well, then how the job design is being done, then we can have the coaches, the role of management, how the leadership is facilitated in the organization. So, all this will help to create the empowerment in the organization. Now, let us move to the next part, that is total quality management. TQM refers to the deep commitment, almost obsession of the organization to the quality. Every step in company's process is subjected to intense and regular scrutiny for ways to improve it. There are certain traditional beliefs which are needed to be discarded, and those beliefs could be like high quality costs more, or quality can be improved by inspection, or defects cannot be completely eliminated, or quality in the job of the QC personnel. And therefore, we need to find out certain new principles of TQM. How can we ensure the customer's requirement on time, the first time or 100% of the time? How we can go for error-free work? How we can manage the prevention, not the correction? How we can focus on measure the cost of the quality? TQM is called participative because it is a formal program involving every employee in the organization, making each one of them responsible for improving quality every day. Friends, having said this, let us move to the next part, and that is financial participation. This method involves less consultation or even joint decisions. Performance of the organization is linked to the performance of the employee. The logic behind this is that if an employee has a financial stake in the organization, he or she is likely to be more positively motivated and involved. There are certain schemes of financial participation: profit linked pay, profit sharing, or employees stock option schemes, pension fund participation. These are the methods which are used. Level of participation is possible at or ensured at across the level of the organization, and especially at the management. The only difference is that of degree and the nature of application. For instance, it may be vigorous at lower level and faint at the top level. Broadly speaking, there are certain levels of participation, and those are total 5. One is information participation. This ensures that the employees are able to receive information and express their views pertaining to the matters of general economic importance. Consultative participation. Here it works based on the consultation, where the matters such as employee welfare, where we talk about work, safety and health is being discussed or consulted. However, the final decision is always rests at the option of the top management, and employees' views are only of advisory nature in this particular case. The next one is associative participation. It is extension of consultative participation, as management here is under moral obligation to accept and implement the unanimous decisions of the employees. Administrative participation. It ensures greater share of the works in discharge of the managerial functions. Here decisions already are taken by the management comes to the employees, preferably with the alternatives for administration, and employees have to select the best from those for the implementation. Decisive participation, highest level of the participation, this particular part where decisions are jointly taken on the matters related to the production, welfare, etc., where both the parties are sitting together, and which is called as decisive participation. When we are ensuring the participation, there are certain prerequisites for the effective participation, and these prerequisites are very important for the success of any scheme of participative management, and therefore let us understand those prerequisites. There should be a strong democratic and representative unionism for the success of participative management. There should be mutually agreed and clearly formulated objectives for the participation to succeed. There should be a feeling of participation at all levels. There should be effective consultation of the workers by the management. Both the management and the workers must have full faith in the soundness of the philosophy underlying the concept of labor participation or employee participation. Till the participative structure is fully accepted by the parties, legislative support is necessary to ensure that the rights of each other are recognized and protected. Education and training make a significant contribution to the purposeful working of participative management. And lastly, forums of participation, areas of participation, guidelines for the implementation of decisions should be specific, and there should be prompt follow-up action and feedback. To conclude and to understand what we discussed, since 1957 in India, we have the concept of workers' participation in management, which is very familiar. The initiatives was taken in 1958 primarily by the government with the tripartite concurrence, but thereafter participative practices petered out or failed in most of the organizations. However, re-emerging after the globalization along with the other HRM and IR practices, this has become the need to become or remain competitive in the more market-driven economic situations. Friends, thus today we have discussed and learnt about the workers' participation in management, especially definition, concepts, various methods and their advantages. India is no stranger to the employee participation, and all the stakeholders in labor relations have been familiar with the concept and practices since 1957, though interpretations have varied. The initiative was taken in 1958 primarily by the government with the tripartite concurrence. I am sure you have enjoyed this session. Thank you so much.